Welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with Nancy Barlow. Now, Nancy, thanks for taking some time to be with me today.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate this.
Well, you're welcome. It's going to be a great conversation. Nancy and I connected a few weeks ago, and she runs an advertising and design firm called Barlow Advertising. And she and I connected really quickly because she loves direct response marketing, personalization. She's a strategist. And so after a really short conversation, I said, you know what? My audience needs to hear from Nancy. And so that's what we're going to do today. So Nancy, why don't you unpack for my listeners and viewers who you are and how did you get to doing what you do today?
Okay, thank you. You're my tribe, Michael. You're my tribe. So I've been in business for 30 years. Actually, November of this year will be my 31st year. But before that, I was a marketing director for a publishing company in Illinois, and they did direct marketing. And I'll never forget when I got this job. I took all this stuff home to show my family, and my brother goes, "Nancy, this is junk mail." I'm like, "Yeah, isn't that great? I love junk mail." So anyway, I got a great education from this company on direct mail. And the cool thing I think about direct marketing is that it's sales.
It really is. It really is. And you know, I talk a lot about Dan Kennedy because I've got almost every book he's ever written, right? And everybody knows his name. And that's really, he was the king of that, of direct response marketing. You send a letter out and you hope to get a response on it later this week to pay the bills, right? And it is sales in a different form. It's not face to face, but it's still very personal, right?
It is. And it's super strategic because you're trying to get that receiver to make an action.
Right.
To do something, to buy something.
Yeah.
To pick up the phone.
Well, and it's funny because a lot of people, you know, they're too sophisticated for a direct response. And I was in a car repair shop the other day getting an oil change, and the TV was on behind me. And there was this national company, well-known company. And what are they doing on TV? Direct response marketing, right? Call our 800 number now and request your free kit. That's direct response marketing on a large national basis on a company we would all know. So it's not outdated. It is used every single day. It's just small business owners get tied up into the social media marketing and the Facebook and the likes, which are all well and good, but those aren't direct response the way you do it, right?
Right. Can I show you something? And tell you a story?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So about 20 years ago, I got a client. He was a exit planner. And so he worked with small business owners, and he had a niche of the size of the business, the age of the business, the age of the business owner, and he belonged to an association of exit planners.
Okay.
And there was a gentleman that wrote a book, you know all about that, wrote a book about exiting your business. And so my buddy Dave said, "Nancy, what should I do with this?" So I put together what we lovingly call the book in the box.
Yes.
And there was tons of personalization. So I made him handwrite the label, put stamps on it, stamp it with confidential.
Yep.
And he would send 10 of these out a week, has a message on the outside, messages on the inside. And then there's a bookmark, and he would write, "Michael, read chapter 7 and I'll call you in a week." 95% success rate. He would send out 10 of these. He'd make 10 phone calls. He'd either get 9 or 10 appointments.
Yes. Yeah.
That's thrilling, right?
Absolutely. Simple, personal, and it's not over the top. It doesn't take a ton of time.
No.
Yeah, and the other thing, nobody else is doing anything like that. If my audience who have their books would implement that, what we would call a simulated welcome and wow kit, right? And just do it. It's just taking your top, a lot of people say, make your list of your top 100 or your top 50. Well, you can make that list, but don't send them all out at one time because you're not going to get over. I love that. Take 10 a week, and you can do 10 calls a week.
Well, and I think you get better and better at it every week, right?
Absolutely.
So he told me, he said, "If you give me exclusivity on this idea in Colorado, I will give your name out to other planners, exit planners across the country And you know what? They all worked exactly the same way, had exactly the same success. And then there was a gentleman in Cleveland that wanted to use a different book. And he wanted to, it was a book that he wanted to send to wealthy Christians.
Mhm.
And so I versioned it. The message was different, but I versioned it for him. Worked exactly the same way. 95% success rate.
And if you're listening to this and you've got a book, you can just replicate that whole thing without understanding all the intricacies. I mean, there's a lot of intricacies in strategy that goes into that, right?
Exactly.
But one of my favorite sayings that came to me from one of my clients is done beats perfect every time. And too many clients wait for perfect. But there
Right.
is no perfect. Get
No.
the silly thing created, send it out and test it.
Exactly. And that is the beauty about direct marketing.
Yeah.
You have to test.
Well, and you get your responses back really quickly, right? And
Right.
and another thought, at the end of this, we're going to have a link to Nancy's website. If you've always wanted to do one of these welcome and wow kits or something, and you don't want to create, just connect with her at barlowadvertising.com. She's already done this multiple times. She can get it done and out the door for you in a really effective way. So just don't think you always have to do something yourself, because it's so much more efficient many times to pay somebody to do it and say, Nancy, here's what I got. Okay, go. And in 2 or 3 weeks, it'll be done. There you go. Now you can start really implementing and testing.
Well, and I've done other mailings for other types of companies and used books. And who doesn't like to receive a book?
That's right. Absolutely. But I know, books are made from trees, right? And I know sometimes you actually sent a tree in a mail one time. And I thought this was really cool. So tell us that story in a short fashion, because what I want people to understand is direct mail is great for personalizing your marketing and getting a response and being powerful to get your message opened, read, responded to. So talk about, how do you mail a tree?
This one was really special to me because I don't know, viewers probably have heard of all the different fires that we have in Colorado, and homes get destroyed, and it's a really sad situation. And so I've actually worked on 2 fires of 2 communities, and this one happened to have been near Colorado Springs, and my client was a custom home builder. And so I have a creative process that I personally go through. And so I learned, and this is a prototype. But
hang on. If you're listening, if you're not watching, if you're listening, she's got this big tube, this cardboard tube, and she just pulled out. What'd you just pull out of this thing?
It was a birch sapling, a live birch tree sapling. Now I got a fake one just so I could show the prototype. Yeah. But through my creative process, I learned that the birch tree symbolizes new beginnings and cleansing of the past.
There you go.
Now, these people, that they've lost their homes and they've lost their trees. Yeah. So we mailed these out. I had to buy a list of all of the homes in the Black Forest and their values, because there was a certain value of home that he was interested in. And then there's always a list online of the homes that are destroyed. So when you pair those 2 criteria, I found out that there were like 16 homes that fit his criteria. So we packaged up these things and we mailed them out with a brochure, a very heartfelt letter to the homeowner, a lift note, which lifts response. And what that was is a testimonial from one of his clients who was well known in the community. And his phone rang and people said, we have been inundated in garbage from builders. This is the only thing that touched our heart.
Yep. And therein lies that principle that I keep talking about over and over and over again, is when you reach the heart, you'll get the pocketbook, right? But you always market through the heart, through the emotions, because their response was, they're making an emotional decision to build a house, right? He's the only one who reached their heart. He became the first one they thought of and the one they felt the best about. That's why they responded.
It would take care of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost everything. So, it's a different kind of a sale, right?
Right. So all of that, if you're listening to this and you don't have a book yet, first call me and we can figure that out. But you don't have to mail books. What you need to do is think about marketing, think about how to personalize the message. And I love that last one because he really took into consideration the audience.
Right.
As you crafted everything there, it had everything to do with that audience, and the message matched the audience, and the response was phenomenal. I think so many times business owners forget the audience.
Well, and they
And
just want to throw up about themselves,
that's
right?
right. Yeah.
Go on and
Yeah.
on and on,
It's all about
and
me
people
and me
just
and me.
tune that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And that's why
when
people don't like direct mail or email or Facebook or
right,
LinkedIn, because it's all about me, 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 me.
right,
Wrong, 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 wrong. So
right. Yeah, it's a lot of
uh,
fun. It's very rewarding.
it is. It is. Well, so let's talk some strategies for just normal small business owners, attorneys, financial advisors, car repair shops, whatever you are. Marketing is marketing at one level, right? And you've got to have direct response. You've got to have that personal aspect. How would you help business owners give them some strategies, ideas, tips of how to take what they've got and go direct to their clients?
Well, it goes back to what we just said. You really have to analyze their prospect, analyze their future customer, and figure out what's going to interest them to make them feel like you'd be a good partner for them,
Right.
to help them.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I want to come back to, you do that. Too many people think, well, direct mail's too expensive. And I look at what you put together there with the tree and all that. That was probably not inexpensive to put together and mail and all that because of the tree and all that. But the response rate more than paid for, right? And that's the beauty of good direct response marketing versus saying, well, I'm going to spend $5,000 on Facebook ads this month. Well, what if you spent $5,000 on great targeted direct mail to your top 20, 25 prospects? Do it in a different way. Do you think maybe it's going to pay itself back? Because most of the time in direct mail, you only need one or two clients to pay for the whole thing, right?
It's for the home builder. He only needed one.
Yeah. He probably got more than that. And I think that's how most people are when most business owners is you only need one good client out of whatever marketing you're doing, but you're doing what everybody else is doing. And that's the thing I love about what Nancy does is she does it a different way. She takes your message to your audience in a different way that's more personal. And it is more direct because it's coming through the mail, and you can do other things for people, right? You're not just a mail house.
No,
but it's so powerful. It's so different. And that's what I love, especially if you have a physical, something like a book or a whatever, but there are all kinds of ways you can use mail outside of just an envelope or a postcard. And those can work, but that's what most people think of when they think direct mail. You're taking it to a new level of adding dimension and personalization to it. And I think that's really important.
Just think about going to your mailbox and finding something that you would never have expected, right?
Right. Yes.
It's thrilling for all of us.
It is. It's like Christmas morning.
Right.
And too many times, most direct mail is boring, right? And that's why people just, they shuffle their mail over the garbage can. Well, if you get a big tube like that in the mail, yeah, they do. If you get a big tube like that, or I tell clients to mail their books in big gold envelopes, that are personalized, and you get this in the mailbox, I assure you, you're opening it, right?
Absolutely.
And I've sent in the past, I've sent a plastic garbage can in the mail, just like that. We've sent so many fun things because it's I always go back to the principle. It's how to Disneyfy your business. What's the difference between Disney and Six Flags? They're both amusement parks. One just happens to have a phenomenal experience.
Yeah.
That causes you to tell other people and keep coming back. That's how you want to do your marketing. It's not that hard when you've got somebody like Nancy on your team, and you can reach out to her and say, Nancy, here's what I'm thinking about doing. And she's a part of everything else that you're doing, right?
Well, and for more than 30 years, I've seen people make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
So I help my clients not do that.
That's right. Yeah. And if you can come to Nancy and say, here's what I'm trying to make happen. Here's the idea, what you got. And that's a whole lot better, what I find working with people, than saying, okay, Nancy, here it is. Here's the design. Here's the this. Here's the this. Go ahead and execute. It's like, well, that's not really what I can do that. That's not what I do. Use people like Nancy to say, this is the barrier I'm trying to break through. What do you think? And then let her come back to you with 5 or 6 ideas from her 30 years of experience and go, look, right. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about going offline with some of your marketing? I mean, that's shocking. That's blasphemy right now in this day and age, Nancy. Did you know that?
Yes.
Everything has to be online. No, it actually doesn't. You can use, I call it combined media. A a good strategy has both online components and offline components.
Absolutely.
And they work together.
Yep.
And so that's
It's your
exactly
marketing mix.
it is. And it's really old fashioned, but you don't hear it very often.
No,
But
you
it's
don't.
really, it's bringing your marketing down to clarify your message, simplify your marketing so you multiply your results. And direct mail is really simple when done well. You had some components in there with the letter, the testimonial, the lift, all of that plays into it. But at the end of the day, you understood your target audience and you had a really cool way to personalize a piece to them. That's and it doesn't have to be, it's not, most people think, I think in direct mail, you have to send out 10,000 pieces. No, you don't. You can send out 20.
No, you just got to have a good list.
That's all. Yeah. And you can help people get that because most business owners today don't know how to get that.
Right.
And there's a whole methodology around that.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of bad data out there.
Yes. Yeah. And so you make marketing simple, you make marketing more fun and really more profitable because direct response marketing, when done well, is highly profitable.
Yep.
Right. And so you don't get scared away thinking you've got to mail out 10 or 20,000 pieces. You target it and get the message right. And then you can scale if you want. But really, if you're a small business owner and you're a solopreneur, you have a small team, you really can't afford to get a response, to send out 10,000 pieces and get, 8,000 people responding to you. It'll put you out of business.
No. And, with this dimensional stuff, I encourage my clients to start out with 50 pieces.
Yeah.
That's manageable.
Absolutely.
And if you're only going to send 10 out a week,
yeah,
in 5 weeks time, I guarantee you'll have a customer.
Yeah, without question. When it's done well, and you're going to get a lot of word of mouth from them, a lot of referrals because you're doing something differently, right?
Yep.
And it's just, and really when you put the strategy together, that piece should be one piece of a multi-touch sequence, right? So they get something in the mail, they've got a phone call, they've got an email, they've got a whatever. Right. And when you do it that way, you're going to really multiply the results in a way that is, as we, everybody says scalable. It's got to be scalable. I'm getting tired of that word, but it's something that you can do on an ongoing basis. And when you're consistent with it, so yeah, make your list of your top 100 or your top 50, but break it down and say, I'm going to send out 5 or 10 a week because that's what I can manage, and put on your calendar next Tuesday between 10 and noon, you're going to make 5 phone calls, whatever it is, to make sure that you're following up. Because if you just send them out, well, it can work, but it's much better with some follow-up. And that's, in our strategy to mail books out to prospects and things, we have a 4-step process that you follow because it takes some time, it takes engagement, and you're always wanting to position yourself uniquely in the eyes and the heart of your audience. And
incredibly.
You've done a great job with that.
Thank you.
Any other tips or tactics that you've learned that are great for small business owners when it comes to direct response?
I think I think it comes down to your list. Make sure that you have a good prospect list. Mm-hmm. Even if you just manually creating your list, especially with dimensional, you can do that because you don't have a large number, right?
That's right. Yeah. And everybody who's around me knows that I believe your list is your number one asset in your business, right? Your prospect list, your client list. Start there. And then when you find the message that resonates, Nancy can help you, model or clone that list by buying other lists to go, wow, I want to go out to another market. Here's how you do that and do it affordably. Because once you dial in your market and your message and it works, now you're in a position to scale, to take it to a new level, both online and offline.
Absolutely.
But making those two work together, right? That's right. Really the key fact. But that comes back to strategy. And, Nancy's been doing strategy with business owners for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted you on the show, just to expose my audience to Barlow advertising and Nancy Barlow, because it's just, she's not the new shiny object that's out there, right?
Right.
This is tried and true. This is old school marketing, but done in a really fun way. It's not the number 10 envelope that's going to get mailed out necessarily. That will still work.
They do.
But when you add dimension to it, sending a tube, sending a tree, sending a trash can, sending a book, sending a, you name it. It could be wine glasses. It could be cheese. It could be food. I mean, I send direct mail every month with food in it, right? To people.
That's right. You do. Yeah.
And it gets great response. People love it. One of the best marketing things I've ever done.
I'll tell you one more quick story.
Sure.
So years ago, we decided to do a dimensional Christmas card. And so we had a small box, and inside that box was a crumpled up piece of paper, white paper. It was a typed letter. It was a ransom note. Someone had kidnapped Santa Claus. And so we went down to the local Goodwill and we bought a Santa's beard, and we cut a little chunk of the beard off and taped it to this ransom note. And we sent this out. Our phones blew up from our clients.
So fun.
It was just really a fun thing to do.
See, and that's good. And people love that because marketing gets so boring, but doing things like that are different. They're fun. They make people laugh. It's emotional. And then they respond. And the challenge with that, Nancy, is that's not very professional, Nancy. And as I tell people, it's like, get over it.
Yeah, I don't want to work with you then.
That's right. No, seriously. I mean, I love a ransom note because we've taken Santa for hostage. I love that idea because people would open that, they'd read it, they'll remember it, they'll be talking about it, they'll respond, they'll buy.
And they'll say Barlow Advertising's creative, right? That's
right. Yeah. And that's how you get more business. And so let me just encourage people to reach out to you, Nancy, at barlowadvertising.com and just have a conversation. Look what she's done with different people. The website's great. You can reach out to her. She'll have a conversation with you. Just open your mind to direct response marketing through the mail in a different way to help your marketing. So if you're doing seminars, either in person or webinars or whatever you're doing, doesn't matter. What you're trying to do is get your message to a prospect in a way that is compelling, fun, memorable, engaging, responsive. And I think Nancy can help you strategize how can you add this into your marketing mix in a way that's going to be profitable, powerful, and really fun. So Nancy, thank you. Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. This is so cool. So we're going to have all the links to your website and everything in the show notes, but it's really simple. barlowadvertising.com, just like it sounds. Reach out to Nancy and see how she can help you grow your business through direct response marketing in a really fun way. Nancy, have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Great to see you, Michael.